Ladies and gentlemen, VMware would like to thank its Global Diamond sponsors, and its Platinum sponsors for VMworld 2018. With over 125,000 members globally, the VMware User Group connects VMware customers, partners, and employees to VMware information, resources, knowledge sharing, and networking. To learn more, visit the VMUG booth in the Solutions Exchange. Become a part of the community today. This presentation includes forward-looking statements that are subject to risks and uncertainties. Actual results may differ materially as a result of various risk factors, including those described in the 10Ks, 10Qs, and 8Ks VMware files with the SEC. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jean-Pierre Brulard.
Good morning, and welcome to VMworld 2018. I'm really honored to stand here for my 10th VMworld and my 4th on stage as EMEA leader. It's really my absolute pleasure to kick off what is set to be an incredible 2 days. Here in the room, we have close to 12,000 attendees, a record ever, representing over 100 plus nationalities. So first of all, a big thank you for coming to Barcelona. This year is a special year for VMware, as we celebrate our 20th anniversary. So happy birthday, VMware, happy birthday to us, and happy birthday to VMworld Europe. We have held this event through 3 vibrant cities, Cannes, Copenhagen, and over the last 7 years, Barcelona. So let me take this opportunity to thank all of you who have attending VMworld over the last 10 years. Big round of applause for your loyalty. And what an impact you have made over the last 10 years. Both for the society, first of all for the society, we are providing more efficient public services, close to 2.2 inhabitants over EMEA. More specifically, we are looking to better protect citizens for increasing cyber attack and terrorism. And at the same time, providing an aging population end-to-end patient care through technology and innovation. Secondly, modernizing the economy, moving digital, some key verticals, such as retail and banking. But even more importantly, bringing the competitive edge to deliver fast innovation to leading industry across EMEA. We are proud to provide within the telco a unified NFV platform to serve more than 200 million subscribers and seeding the future with a 5G. This is also a defining moment for manufacturers to seize this unique IoT opportunity and to reinvent themselves. So over the last 10 years, it's really amazing what we have accomplished together. Wow, really impressive. So thank you again for 10 years of innovation, impacting both the society and the economy. And looking back at the last 10 years of VMworld theme, there are two commonalities. The first one is about visualizing the infinite possibility of technology innovation, to defy convention without any limits, to be ready for any. The second one is about you, your commitment to be tomorrow, your execution right here, right now, your belief to transform your job, your company. And no doubt that combining this vision and the execution, you realize the possible. And not surprisingly, the theme for VMworld 2018 is possible begins with you. And who better to speak about the art of the possible than one of the greatest IT visionary and our Chief Executive Officer, Pat Gelsinger.
Thank you, Jean-Pierre, and it truly is a thrill to be with you in Barcelona. I love the city. It's a pleasure to be back. And I'll just tell you, it's been incredible, the success that we've had in EMEA under JP's leadership. And I just want to say thank you to our incredible customers, partners, and the leadership team under JP here. Thank you very much, Barcelona and Europe. No, and I want to echo JP's comments about the special nature of this community, our team, you, our customers, and our partners. And as we think about this, it's sort of the gathering of the tribe, and I think about this powerful trifecta. Our 23,000 employees that we have, the 75,000 plus partners we have, but most importantly, our customers. And this event would be a non-event without you. And our job at VMware is straightforward. Build the best darn technologies and innovation that we possibly can, but you're the ones who put it to work. And together, we've changed the world over the last 2 decades. We have this, I'll say, unique position in the industry, and we've accomplished some extraordinary things together. And I'll say, we've been able to uniquely bridge across. And when we think about innovation, it generally develops in, a certain pattern and position in the industry. But then there's the natural tension that emerges between these different pockets of innovation. And from the start, we together have been able to bridge across. This uncanny ability to go across these silos, these different domains of application and data innovation, and bring it all together. And Act 1, of course, was across servers. And most of our data centers, I sort of viewed them at the time, they were sort of like the Louvre, the museum of IT past. Right? And our ability to bridge across, as an IT decision maker, you had some tough decisions to make. Which different server architecture should I go with? But when we brought together the ESX and vSphere, it was like a bang across the industry. It was a game changer. 10 servers became one. Months became minutes. I still have customers who come up to me today and they describe their first experience with vSphere in almost holy terms, right? Wow, it was so, and they go on and on and on, amazing, right? And that was Act 1. But again, we've bridged across. And when many devices started to emerge, it wasn't just one simple PC architecture, it was many different devices and BYOD. And all of a sudden, our customers were saying, how do I take advantage of these new trends and new devices? And once again, we bridged across. And this is the magic of Workspace ONE, managing devices but driving employee engagement and productivity. And again, we bridged across. The hardware network had become far too rigid. And, you'd say, boy, I want to deploy new routing capabilities or new firewall rules. And your network admin would say, we'll get to it in a month. A month? I want to deploy this application today. Deep frustration inside of CIOs and networking teams. Everyone was ready to break the chains. And that's exactly what we did. We bridged across, and Nicira was the acquisition that sort of was the shot heard around the industry. Cisco stock fall, the industry changed, and everybody knew that day that software-defined network was changing the industry. Networking would never be the same again. And we've consistently bridged across. But it's not just in the technical realm. It's also this fundamental dilemma of, people or profit, right? Can we, do both of these at the same time? Or Milton Friedman had famously said that the sole purpose of business is to make profit. And I'll say, there's some truth to that. If the business isn't being profitable and successful, nothing matters. But if you are being profitable and successful, everything matters. And again, we see it as this fundamental approach where we fundamentally need to do well and do good. And particularly for technology, as it's permeating every aspect of society today, we have a responsibility to do both. Right? And for that, one example of this that I'm probably most proud of as a leader of VMware is that together we have saved over 540 million tons of CO2 emissions. That's what we have done together. Can you believe that? That's enough carbon emissions. What we have done is we can power Spain, Switzerland, Italy, and the UK for a full year by the savings that you all have accomplished with our technologies. Isn't that amazing? Right? It's just, incredible what we have done. And I was very happy, right, that the VMware global operations, we had set a goal of carbon neutrality by 2020. Well, we failed, right? We did it 2 years ahead of schedule. VMware is now a carbon neutral company. And, I'll just say, scientific debates aside, achieving a net zero carbon footprint is just the right thing to do for our employees, for our company, for our customers, and the communities that we participate in. Last week we had our Discovery Center, our new Customer Center opening, and we also announced that we're doing a special project with the city of Palo Alto, where we're headquartered, to build a community microgrid, solar arrays, battery storage, becoming an emergency response center for our community. We're committed to doing well and to do good. We need to do that as a company, but we need to do that as an industry as well. And as we think about this, and as we're progressing, we think of technology and our opportunity to shape it as a force for good. Because technology in its basic form is almost always neutral. It's neither good nor bad. Right, the Gutenberg printing press of 1440, it could, the same printing press could produce, mass education materials or extremist propaganda. The printing press was neutral. And almost every technology since then is the same, neutral. And it's our job, our responsibility to be a force to shape it for good. Today, I think that this opportunity is greater than ever before. And I'm a believer that today we're in the era of the superpowers, but technology superpowers, cloud, mobility, AI, and edge and IoT, each of these together, a superpower, but together, they're changing history as never before. Cloud, unimaginable scale. On your Amex card, you can rent 10,000 cores for $100. If you borrow Michael Dell's, you can form the largest supercomputer ever formed. We've got, the opportunity to have unprecedented scale, but also unprecedented reach. We have exceeded now over half of the planet has a permanent connection to the internet. Unprecedented reach. Your customers now are over half of the planet. AI allows us to bring intelligence to everything. And as I describe it, AI is a 30-year overnight success. In 1986, I was the chief architect of the 8486, and my marketing manager comes running into my office one day and says, Pat, we must make the 486 a great AI chip. This is 1986. What happened? Nothing. The algorithms, the data, the computational capacity worked on over time. And here we are 30 years later, and it is changing everything, allowing us to bring unimaginable intelligence to every aspect of our business and operations. And we're just scratching the surface. Edge and IoT allows us to bridge between the physical and the digital world as never before. And our strategy is to bring world-class IT to IoT. Each of these a superpower in their own right. But together, they are causing the acceleration, the exponential gains to drive each other more rapidly. Cloud enables more mobile connections. More mobile connections creates more data. More data enables the AI to be better. The AI being better enables more use cases for edge and IoT. And of course, more edge means more data and computation for the cloud. They're causing each other to accelerate. Each of these is touching every aspect of society: healthcare, education, transportation, financial inclusion. The superpowers enable dramatic change. Let's just take a simple example of this. How many of you have ever worn a hard hat? Okay, yeah, it's pretty simple, right? Right, protect my head. But the hard hat of today is no longer a simple device. The hard hat of today is a heads-up AR, VR display system. And how many of you, when you were kids, wanted to have X-ray vision that you could see through things? Yeah, I know I did, right? What could I see through? Anyway, today, my hard hat becomes a complex application that combines AR, VR, connecting to HVAC systems, inventory, building plans, machine diagrams, all of these possible through a modern user interface today. And if we think about that simplest of example, the hard hat, the applications that are running on it has become a network. John Gage had famously said years ago that the network is the computer. Today, the application is a network, and a complex one at that. Against that, we think of the VMware vision fitting into this picture, enabling that complex application space to be possible, delivered, and operated at scale. Any device, with any application, on any cloud, with intrinsic security. And in the course of our conversation today, we'll pick apart each piece of this strategy and how, together with you, we are implementing at scale. Let's start out by clicking on what may be the most important topic of them all: security. Today, security is broken. You're spending the largest portion and the largest growth of the IT budget in the industry today is security, and the cost and the number of breaches is increasing more rapidly than the security spend. So isn't that crazy? I'm spending more and I'm losing more? How do you think of that investment? Right, simply is broken. We need less security products and much more security. And what we see is that we need to turn the industry on its head. We need to think about security in a fundamentally different way. Today we build infrastructure not knowing the applications that'll run on it. We then deploy applications into that environment. They're changing constantly, and we're patching on these security products into it. Think about the basic virus scan that runs on your personal computer. Tens of millions of rules that are being changed many times a day. That's called chasing bad, right? It simply doesn't work. It can't keep up. And we're flipping that security model from bolted on and chasing bad to intrinsic security and ensuring good. And we're building into our products basic security mechanism being built into every component, right? On the user side with Workspace ONE, on the network side with NSX, in storage with encryption, in the compute side with AppDefense. We're not chasing threats, but radically reducing the attack surface. We're enabling a new model of security. So let's look at this. Today we have an application. It's deployed in your data center. A variety of servers or nodes are running it. And most security is implemented on the north-south boundary. So if a bad actor gets into your data center, they move horizontally across that environment, find the interesting application servers, and ultimately the weakest link becomes the only link that matters. We innovated the idea of micro-segmentation. And the fact it wasn't a new idea, but it simply was unimplementable before. This idea that we could go segment the network on any application boundary. And now, when that same attacker enters, they move horizontally through the data center, and they find the doors locked. This model of security fundamentally is like our physical security. You get to the bank, the doors are locked. You have many layers to get through to find the good stuff. And this idea has been profound and the key driver for NSX, but we're not standing still. We're continuing to innovate. And we'll simply call it learn, adapt, and lock, right? And the idea of learning. Can we learn what the virtual machine, what the applications are intending to do? And we produce what we call a manifest. And we're using machine learning and AI to learn what good behavior is. Then we lock down the behavior, and we say, do exactly that, and detect deviations from that. And then the next piece of it is be adaptive. Maybe you've added some new capabilities or deployed against a new network model. So adapt as well to minimize false positives. And this model of learn, lock, adapt is the future. And we're making today several announcements that make this possible. First, we've taken this idea and now applying it against vSphere. We introduced AppDefense about a year ago. And this idea of being able to use the virtual machine to be able to learn that application's behavior and then guarantee operation against it. It's been a game-changing, and we've been working and refining it. We're now making that capability part of the premier offering of vSphere, vSphere Platinum. And it allows us to combine together this idea of AppDefense with vSphere right through vCenter, and basically being able to say every virtual machine now can become protectable. The virtual machine learns, locks, and adapts that application. Today, we're also announcing that we're making vSphere Platinum part of the vCloud Suite Platinum as well. And as I interact with you in the future and talk to you as customers, to me, this is like burgers and fries. Do you ever leave the fast food restaurant without getting the fries to go with the burger? Right? You always go out with both. And here it's like, are you ever going to run vSphere without turning security on? Of course not. You're always going to have these together in the future. And this idea to me is so profound that nobody should ever run a virtual machine without turning security on that virtual machine, natively learning, locking, and adapting to the behavior. So our first major capability. Our next one is what we call adaptive micro-segmentation. So we're taking this idea of micro-segmentation to the next level, where we're combining vSphere Platinum, AppDefense, and vSphere with micro-segmentation and being able to truly align in an automated fashion the behavior of the application with the network requirements and the network segmentation policies. Together, the application and the network learn, lock, and adapt to the behavior of the real and running application. Now, VMworld, VMware, it's always great to hear me talk about things. I hope you like me talking about them. but it's even better to see them in action. And for that, it's my pleasure to have the VMware Certified Smart Guy, Ray O'Farrell. I used to be a CTO, so I know they're really smart. But also CTO stands for Chief Talking Officer. And Ray's really good at that, too. And he's joined by Vijay Gante from our AppDefense team to give you a demonstration of vSphere Platinum in action. Ray, please join me.
Hi, good morning, everybody. You know, I'm going to let you do the talking just because he said that, right?
That's fine.
So we've heard from Pat about this integration between security and building it intrinsically into vSphere. The product, the combination of vSphere and AppDefense, vSphere Platinum, with this key concept of basically learning about the system, locking in the status, and then adapting as need be. Can you show us that in action, Vijay, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Let's roll the demo. With vSphere Platinum, you can easily enable AppDefense for hundreds of hosts and thousands of guest virtual machines. What that does is gives you immediate visibility into your infrastructure through the lens of an application. Let's look at an example. In this case, you can see the e-commerce application, the components that make up that application, the database tier, the web tier, the app tier. But we're also learning automatically the processes and behaviors of this application. Right?
So one of the things that I often get asked when we talk about this is, how do you know we're learning good behavior? We're learning what the system is doing, but we could be actually learning bad behavior, and therefore we're locking in this wrong information. Can you tell people why that is not the case?
That's a great question. We ensure that we only learn good things and not bad by first verifying every binary for its reputation, and then we also verify all the behaviors using machine learning. Let's look at an example. In this case, SVC host.exe is exhibiting hundreds of behaviors across numerous CLIs. You don't have to manually verify this. Our machine learning models that have been trained on millions of instances of goodware will automatically verify this for you. So we've learned about the application. Once we have learned about the application's composition and behavior, locking it down is as simple as clicking on that Verify and Protect button. As soon as you do that, it goes and updates the policy on the compute and on the network to lock down the application. Let's also see how we adapt to changes in the application. In this case, lsas.exe is showing a new behavior which we actually did not see during the learning period. But again, thankfully, our machine learning models that have been trained on thousands of LSAS instances know this is pretty normal for LSAS. So what it has done is that it has updated the policy for compute and for the network to allow that behavior. And it has also changed the criticality or lowered the criticality of the alarm, addressing false alerts. This is how we've simplified learn, lock, and adapt with AppDefense in vSphere Platinum. But this is just a trailer. You want to watch the full movie tomorrow at 2 p.m. in Tom Korn and Chris Cott's keynote, security keynote. We'll have a live attack actually being defended using AppDefense with vSphere Platinum.
Thank you, Vijay. Pat, do you want to summarize where we are at this stage?
Well, thank you, Ray. Thank you, Vijay. And fundamentally, you've shown how we can learn, right? How we could lock, right? And then adapt to different behavior, and ultimately dramatically shrink the attack surface of the data center. What do you think? Did these guys do a good job? Absolutely. Thank you.
Pat. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Vijay. So we've seen this new security model in action. So let's go and look at this any cloud portion of our vision. Increasingly, it's a multi-cloud, hybrid cloud world. And, it's not just multiple, but it's also different types of clouds. And this hybrid, public, but also local clouds, SaaS, edge, and telco environments. And we'll look at that more carefully. We believe that every business is on a multi-cloud journey, right, where they're taking advantage of the hybrid cloud and the public cloud. And these paths are complementary, coexisting, and businesses are saying, how do I take advantage of both of these? Fundamentally, we see hybrid clouds as being driven largely by IT operations, proven infrastructure, production environments, and the public cloud, a range of consumers and more driven by developers and line of business. But every business being on this journey. And let's look at each piece of it, starting with a look at the hybrid cloud. We want to give a definition for the hybrid cloud, and we'll call it, this true idea of the proper infrastructure consistency, consistent infrastructure, consistent operations between private and public cloud. Simply put, a seamless path to the public cloud as well as from the public cloud. And VMware, we've been talking about this idea of the hybrid cloud for 5 years now, and we're seeing that the industry is agreeing on the definition that we're bringing to the marketplace. And in fact, we've seen pretty much everybody in the industry announce their hybrid cloud and their hybrid strategy. And we're doing this with a foundation built on the VMware Cloud Foundation, agile, scalable, flexible, efficient infrastructure. And the VMware Cloud Foundation is essentially the full recipe for building a cloud environment. Virtualized compute, storage, and networking with a layer of automation and operations. And as I describe it, the rule of the cloud, ruthlessly automate everything. Every people operation becomes an automation solution. And VMware Cloud Foundation is this unique path. Our partners are embracing this across the range of different hardware solutions in the industry today. We're delivering this cloud foundation on validated hardware with integrated appliances, as well as from a range of cloud providers. And we're now releasing VMware Cloud Foundation 3.5 that expands the number of use cases that we support, that provides customers a wider choice of infrastructure deployment. And we're now deeply integrated with NSXT, enabling automated deployment of network virtualization as well, and support for containerized applications in Kubernetes. We have the richest set of partners in the industry. We support all major hardware vendors. We have the VxRack and VxRail solutions that we've co-engineered with Dell, and a broadening set of cloud providers who are giving VMware Cloud Foundation on their cloud-validated hardware environments. At the center of the VMware Cloud Foundation is vSAN. And vSAN has now over 15,000 customers, 50% of the global 2,000, 500 plus cloud providers, and over 30% market share, and the fastest growing hyperconverged solution in the industry today. Simply put, vSAN, the software-defined storage solution of choice, rapidly leaving the competition behind. We're seeing customers across the world take advantage of this. But I talked earlier about this idea as tech as a force for good. And we see that billions of people worldwide do not have access to safe, affordable surgery and modern healthcare. Mercy Ships is working hard to change this global surgery crisis with over 400 volunteers. They operate the largest NGO hospital, a floating hospital, a ship, and they deliver free medical care throughout the poor and ports of Africa. Mercy Ships is now building their next generation ship called Global Mercy, which will more than double its life-saving capacity, and will go live in 2020 serving Africa. Let's watch Mercy Ships in action.
There are 5 billion people in this world who don't have access to safe and affordable surgical care. So there's a huge need out there. So many we can help, but there are also so many we can't. And the hardest piece is turning people away. That is the context that Mercy Ships works. We come alongside countries supporting their healthcare systems to grow and providing free surgeries to patients who otherwise just wouldn't have access to healthcare.
This is our International Support Center in Texas. We log into the systems and we're able to manage them from here. This is a high-level picture of what's going on the ship, and then as you click on each one of those, you get a more in-depth picture. All of the staff on board are volunteer. So with so many different crew coming on board and leaving again, one of the key pieces of the infrastructure that we want to make sure is that it's stable.
Test
By consolidating and going to the VxRails with VMware and making sure that that's the same system we use across all locations, we're then able to spend more time focused on the things that are more important for the organization, less time on the infrastructure.
There's a story of Fafalina. She has this fantastic smile. She was a girl in Madagascar who had bowed legs, and we were able to help her. She was able to go back to school and be a child again. Being a part of making that happen has really touched our hearts and help us connect what we do here with the people that are serving on the front line.
What an incredible story. Taking advantage of our technology to truly change people's lives. And we're thrilled to have Chris Gregg here with us today. And Chris, if you wave to the audience, right, as part of the Mercy Ships team. And I, for one, plan to be there when Global Mercy launches in 2020. Thank you, Chris. So we've looked at this idea of the hybrid cloud, consistent infrastructure and consistent operations. And let's click in a little bit closer at how the public cloud looks. And we're taking this incredible VMware Cloud Foundation and working with leading cloud providers in the world. And we're now able to offer this infrastructure to you in the data center and in the cloud. And at the center of this has been our VMware Cloud Provider Program, one of the longest running and most successful programs that we've had at VMware. And over the 5 years, we now have over 4,200 cloud providers in 120 countries around the globe taking advantage of VMware Cloud Foundation and delivering it for our customers globally. And at the top of this program is what we call the VMware Cloud Verified Partners, who are taking the full software solution, verified with us, and making it available to our customers. And for this, a rapidly growing set of leading providers who are taking advantage of the full VMware Cloud Foundation, verified and partner, and we've tripled the number of cloud verified partners in the last year. And of these partners, one that I'm probably most proud of, most excited about, and we've had incredible momentum with, has been IBM Cloud. And it's been 2 years since VMware and IBM announced a strategic partnership to accelerate hybrid cloud deployments in the industry. And to discuss this momentum, to the progress that we've made, it is my pleasure to welcome to the stage Arvind Krishna, Senior Vice President of Hybrid Cloud for IBM. Arvind? Thanks, Arvind, and it's great to have you here with us in Barcelona.
It's great to be here, Pat.
You know, we've really had a great 2+ years now since we announced the VMware and IBM Cloud partnership. How's the partnership going from your perspective?
It's been incredible. When I look at what we have done together, we've got excitement, we've got innovation, we've got momentum. If you look at the number of clients we've got together, 1,700 clients globally. 1,700.
All right.
400 right here in Europe. And why have we seen this growth? We have seen this growth because we are truly offering clients a journey to hybrid cloud with multiple deployment choices and easy onboarding. In addition, IBM is one of the largest operators of VMs globally. I think we've got over 10 years of experience, and we have it with industry expertise. And most importantly, I know I'm emphasizing this again, but we have a really deep partnership with VMware, focusing on accelerating our combined clients' journey to the hybrid cloud.
You know, it has been an amazing partnership, IBM Cloud and VMware Solutions. And, you know, we've just seen great response from the industry. But before we dig into that a little bit more, Arvind, you guys made a little announcement last week. What's this Red Hat thing about anyway?
So last week, IBM announced that we are going to be acquiring Red Hat. And this acquisition is really about combining Red Hat's open source technologies with our hybrid cloud portfolio and bringing them together to market. It really is going to accelerate hybrid cloud, but in a multi-cloud world. I almost sound like you, Pat, a few minutes ago. We both kind of believe in the same things.
So, do you see any change in the IBM VMware relationship as a result of this?
Absolutely not. Our partnership is really based on bringing innovation to our clients in this journey to hybrid cloud. And when we look at Red Hat, I think it'll only give us more opportunities. From what I heard, I believe Linux is a fairly big workload on VMware.
Absolutely, and I think the vast majority of RHEL is run on VMware, and we've had a good partnership, and we look forward to that being accelerated as Red Hat becomes part of IBM.
Right, so a few months from now, hopefully, and then we can talk even more about all this.
I look forward to that. Now, tell us about a few of these customers, and how are you seeing them take advantage of the VMware cloud with IBM?
Right. So let me first talk about CNH Industrial. CNH Industrial is a participant in the capital goods sector, and they do, agricultural equipment, construction equipment, commercial vehicles, 60,000 employees, and across 180 countries. So pretty big client. And CNH Industrial sought a partner for their cloud journey that can really help them on their hybrid cloud vision, but can also help them with new IT consumption models as well as cost containment.
Yeah, and they're a big customer at scale, so they really put a company like us to a full test of the capabilities that we can deliver.
That's right. So CNH really selected IBM and VMware together to really embark on their cloud journey. And based on their testing, they figured out workloads that, I'll call it, have cloud affinity. And in order to move them, that's why they use our combined capabilities. And this multi-year journey, which is going to ensure a smooth transition, because as we talked about, mission-critical workloads require sort of the help that both of us can bring them.
Indeed. Well, how about Osram? I think they're another big customer as well.
Right. So many people think of Osram as being a traditional lamp manufacturer, but Osram is on a journey to become a complete lighting company, and they are beginning to participate in things like autonomous driving, facial recognition, and many more of those capabilities. And as you think about that, what Osram needed was help in migrating 250 servers, most of them VMware workloads, but they needed to get this done over a single weekend because these were live production systems and they can't take that outage. Together, we completed that in 14 hours.
14 hours?
14 hours, not even a weekend. And that was based on two things. One, the technologies are really easy to use. And two, we also brought a lot of expertise because we have thousands of VMware experts inside IBM. And the technology and expertise, and we could get the journey completed.
Well, that's exciting, Arvind. Now, we're not just talking about the things that customers are doing and that we've already done, but we also have some pretty cool announcements to share with the audience today, don't we?
We do. We got a lot of announcements. I could probably take a lot of time, but I think my time is limited, so I'm going to touch on a couple only. So first, we are really excited that IBM and VMware will establish an industry-first, fully managed, high availability cloud to minimize outages.
The mission-critical cloud.
Mission-critical. And it's fully managed with a validated reference architecture. It's going to help enterprises prevent downtime. It's going to be brought up in our cloud centers across Washington, Dallas, London, Frankfurt, Tokyo, Sydney, pretty much covering the globe. And we believe this is a great game changer for enterprise clients. It's going to support the existing mission-critical workload with 4 nines, 99.99% of availability, and workloads can be automatically recovered in seconds, maybe minutes at the most, and this is multi-site, active infrastructure with automated workload failover.
Well, mission-critical cloud, highly available, resilient environments, something IBM's uniquely known for over time.
Right, and a second one, because we'll do a couple, I'm also excited that we are going to be bringing VMs and containers together.
So VMs and containers.
VMs and containers,
okay,
that's right.
We're going to talk more about that this morning, so this is powerful, seeing those two technologies working together.
Right, so this is really going to address our clients' application modernization needs, both on-prem and off-prem, much like the hybrid cloud story and the multi-cloud story that I know Pat talks about a lot. First, IBM Cloud Private can be hosted on VMware vCenter server on the IBM Cloud. With this new capability, clients can containerize some components and leave the other parts of the application in VMs while all this works together. We're also announcing the integration between VMware solutions and IBM Cloud Kubernetes services, and this is going to be using a secure network, bypassing the public internet. So this allows then the VMs and the containerized workloads to also work together. And these announcements are all about modernizing applications and also giving them access in a secure way to all the high-value cloud services like AI and blockchain.
So we're seeing IBM Cloud Private on VMware and IBM Kubernetes Service on VMware as well. Very excited to see these. And we're taking the partnership further. I'm also excited that VMware Global Services will be partnering with IBM Watson as well.
Wow, that's fantastic. So how are your customers going to benefit from Watson?
Well, our customers have really come to love VMware customer support, right? We're there to make them successful. We know their biggest pain points. We engage them aggressively, but we're also going to change that experience as well by bringing Watson into the equation. And we're going to use natural language analytics and classification services to help ensure we get the right information up front. We accelerate them to the fast tracking of the right expert, engaging them, and being able to reduce the times and steps and the issues that are ultimately required to resolve the issues that they would have. And ultimately, we're on a journey to proactive support as we go into the future. Quite exciting.
Wow, this is really great to see this bi-directional integration between VMware and IBM Watson. I think that's fantastic. But Pat, you talked about tech being a force for good. We have a similar belief. And we've been watching what you've been doing with Mercy ships. And we would like to help as well. So we are now announcing we're going to give 2 years of access to the Mercy ships for the IBM Micro-Medic solution together with the Care Manager. So that is something which I think will really, really help Mercy ships as well.
Thank you very much, Arvind. And I'll just say, to me it is so moving that we are helping and compelling others to join with us in causes like Mercy Ships. Thank you so much, Arvind. So what else do we got to talk about?
So I think the other thing that we're doing together, we talked about excitement, momentum, and innovation.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And today, it's a thrill that we're taking our partnership to the next level. And today, we're happy to announce the formation of a joint innovation lab with dedicated engineers from VMware and from IBM working together on building game-changing solutions and services into the future as well.
Well, Pat, that's incredible. I'm really excited about our partnership as we go forward, based on innovation, delivering value to all our clients.
Hey, Arvind, thank you so much. You honor us by joining us here. Thank you, Arvind.
My pleasure, Pat.
Thank you. So this picture of the hybrid cloud, and as we've seen and building out and extending this position, what we'd like to do now is take a click deeper in this multi-cloud journey and talk about how we're working with the broader range of public clouds as well. And we announced our partnership with Amazon and built a unique solution with them. And this is a great example of the hybrid cloud in operation. And we've expanded our global reach with the Amazon service. And we're delivering on the promise that we laid out with Amazon a year ago. We've now delivered the M6 release. We're on a quarterly release cycle, a rapid pace of innovation with them. We're expanding the footprint globally, and we're committing to a further acceleration of that country rollout. In the second half of this year, we're adding Tokyo and Ireland, as well as GovCloud for FedRAMP workloads in the US. In the first half of next year, expanding again, and second half, expanding again. And by the end of next year, everywhere there's an Amazon availability zone, VMware will be there as well. But it isn't just about building a hybrid cloud and taking workloads to the public cloud of Amazon, but it's also bringing services from the public cloud. And with that, we are thrilled to announce the Amazon RDS partnership, and allows you to offer database as a service anywhere a VMware hypervisor runs. And let's just take a look at that, and this idea of being able to extend the private cloud into the public cloud with VMware Cloud Foundation, but it's also the ability to bring services like RDS from the public cloud on-premise. And RDS supports MySQL, Postgres, Maria, SQL Server, Oracle, and in the highly available deployments that can now be on VMware clusters on-premise, enabling hybrid cloud disaster recovery on native AWS, long-term backup retention on Amazon S3 or on-premise, database replicas in the cloud or on-premise, and local full-stack monitoring. So from the VMware operations perspective, you can be online or offline. And it truly is an enterprise cloud capability delivered in a hybrid cloud way, where operations and developers get the best of both worlds. If you're a developer, it looks just like another availability zone, right? And this is the standard RDS view, and it provides native developer experience across on-premise as well as on Amazon environments. And developers can also locally connect to their RDS clusters to manage their database. It also enables the administrators to manage and operate their database just like you would, right, today. And from the VMware admin view, it just looks like another workload. It just happens to be an RDS workload, and you can take all of the experience and tools that you have today with familiar VMware management tools, policies, vCenter plugins, VROPS environments, all of those immediately applied to the on-premise database environments. So to the developer, as well as to the admin, the best of both worlds. And customers are excited about this, and it points to this truly hybrid future where business requirements determine where a service physically runs. And as an industry, it allows us to no longer think of the cloud as a place, but rather as an operating model for how we want our services and infrastructure to run and operate. So we've seen this idea of the hybrid cloud, where we truly can deliver a cloud-like infrastructure as a service experience. And we're enabling that through the VMware Cloud Foundation. But we've also heard from customers that says, I like that VMware Cloud managed experience, but can I do that not just in the cloud, can I do that in my own data center? Can you manage that for me? Can I have this consistent cloud-delivered operational experience on-premise or on the edge? And in fact, the answer to that is yes, you can. Right? And this is exactly what we're working to extend that cloud-delivered management experience into your data center, into robo environments, and all the way to the edge. We will take VMware Cloud Foundation and we'll manage it for you. This is what Project Dimension is about, and we're excited with Project Dimension as it gives that VMware Cloud Foundation in and on hyperconverged infrastructure appliances, such as Dell and Lenovo, and it delivers this as a service experience. It does it with a hybrid cloud control plane. So from the cloud, we're managing the VMware stack that's running in your environment, on-premise or on the edge. And it gives you the entire VMware cloud solution delivered as a service and operated by VMware end-to-end. So we're expanding the definition of what a hybrid cloud environment is into your data center and into the edge. We see this picture of Project Dimension, right? And for this, the ability to now consume Cloud Foundation as a service delivered from the hybrid control plane of the public cloud. And for that, we're seeing customers excited as well, saying, how can we build out a broader edge-based solution for this? For this, Dimension allows us to move the compute edge as well, so it can be further away and allowing us to manage and control and operate infrastructure further to the edge. It also allows us to move the device edge. And this is what Project Pulse is about. Built from the ground up, an environment to extend, manage, monitor, and secure millions of heterogeneous IoT environments, low-touch, secure enrollment process for all of these environments. And we're happy to now be shipping Pulse IoT 2.0 that allows us to scale to over 500 million devices in a single instance. But we're also moving the network edge. And this is where VeloCloud comes in, a cloud-operated as-a-service wide area network capability. And NSX SD-WAN allows us to move the network edge. Taken together, moving the compute edge, the device edge, and the network edge. All of these together is enabling us to deliver world-class IoT to edge and IoT use cases. And we're excited today to be launching the beta programs for both Project Dimension and Pulse IoT Center, and we encourage you to sign up, participate. And for this, we're extending to the industry the participation in these next-generation technologies that we truly believe are game-changing. Sign up, learn more, and join us on this edge journey. So we've clicked on the hybrid cloud piece of the story. Let's look a little bit more at the public cloud piece of this journey. And what we've seen with public cloud, again, that we have these exciting areas of innovation, and the public clouds are growing very rapidly, innovating very rapidly, but again, can we bridge across? Are we creating complexity for our customers to take advantage of these services? And the challenge of managing, securing, cost optimizing these environments. And for that, we see these three consistent voices from customers saying, how can I manage the complexity of the environment, the accounts, the terms and priorities and business and financial requirements? And we'll simply say cost, compliance, and analytics. And to do that, we're seeing that this new cloud operations role is emerging and becoming more prominent in how people operate their multi-cloud environment. And we're focused, once again, on bridging across and delivering those capabilities. And for that, we're thrilled to announce the acquisition of Cloud Health Technologies to become part of the VMware family. And it's my pleasure to have Joe Kinsella here, one of the co-founders. And Joe, where are you here? Yeah, wave higher. Stick your arm. Come on. Yeah, right. And we're thrilled to have the Cloud Health team, a Boston-based team, and the excitement, enthusiasm, and 3,500 customers being serviced today by Cloud Health. And VMware is committed to the Cloud Health platform and brand and bringing many of our technologies into that platform and brand to rapidly accelerate the capabilities. They support today Amazon and Azure. We're going to have that be Amazon, Azure, Google, all public clouds, all VMware clouds, and all on-premise VMware environments. We're also going to be enabling that through our MSP and VCPP programs. We want the Cloud Health technology to be everywhere so that we enable your multi-cloud journey to the future. We're also delivering the next generation of our cloud automation suite. And for that, we're taking vRealize operation and automation and delivering it as a service as well, as a cloud deliver automation platform that allows us to assemble, manage complex applications, to automate and provision those cloud services, and to manage and services through a common brokerage environment, delivering a cloud management and cloud automation service from the cloud. Fundamentally, accelerating your multi-cloud journey. And as we've done in the past, as a company, as partners, as an industry, we're in a unique position to enable this idea of bridging across and enabling your multi-cloud journey. Now, as we think about those cloud components, at the center is the network. And as we think about the network, we've just made tremendous progress together over the last few years. And as I said, when we announced that acquisition of Nicira, it was like the shot heard round the world, and we began this journey to software-based networking, where we abstract and bring every hardware function into a software layer. Today, we have over 80 million switch ports. We're 10 times larger than number 2. We have 7,500 customers, and over 80% of the Fortune 100 are now in operation with NSX. Clearly, we have become the standard in software-defined networking. And against this, we have broadened our vision NSX began in the data center, simply virtualizing that internal data center network. But it's been quite a journey since then. When we moved it through our cloud partners into, a core component of our, VMware Cloud with Amazon, and, how we connect hybrid cloud environments, Velo Cloud, and moving it to the WAN, the hottest product in the VMware portfolio. Simply put, it's now the virtual cloud network. And for that, we see that everybody is on a multi-cloud, software-based networking journey. And we're embedding security directly into the platform, as we discussed before, delivering this through the WAN and all the way to the edge. Fundamentally, the virtual cloud network is a cloud networking fabric, totally abstracted from any hardware requirements, built with intrinsic security, and enabling a network delivered entirely in software. It's a fundamental requirement that it's no longer a data center, it's now centers of data that need to be connected and operated together. And as our tradition at VMware, we don't just talk about innovation, we like to show it. So once again, it's my pleasure to bring on stage the certified smart guy, Ray O'Farrell. Ray?
Thank you, Pat. Thank you. Hello again, everybody. We're going to go through a series of short demos here where we're going to look at what it really looks like to leverage this connectivity between your on-prem infrastructure, your hybrid cloud infrastructure, and the emerging challenges you have at merging across or managing across multiple different clouds. And we're going to do so first, primarily by looking at this through a series of examples or a series of demos. And first of all, we're going to look at IBM. You've heard from Pat and Arvind as they spoke about this deep integration between the IBM cloud and how it leverages the VMware technology. So let's dive right into a demo and see what that looks like in action. What you're looking at here is the portal, essentially your entry point into IBM Cloud Private. And what you see here is available. What you see here is a lot of available services and applications to help you port and build your applications and run them in this cloud. And quite often, one of the things you're trying to do more and more is take existing applications, which may have not been originally built for the cloud, traditional applications, and move them into this infrastructure. You want to be able to take advantage of some of the power of the cloud at this point. And we've got an example of such an application, a very simple e-commerce application, a company who basically sells skateboards. And when we want to modernize this application, we said we want to do two things. We want to leverage a service, the Watson Chat Assistant, which is a service on IBM Cloud Private, and add a sort of a conversational interface to the website itself. As part of doing this, we also had to rebuild some of this application using, with modern techniques using containers. That introduced an interesting challenge, and we've mentioned it several times. Pat has spoken a lot about security. How do I begin to secure this type of infrastructure, particularly if I'm leveraging containers as opposed to traditional VMs in that mix? In order to do that, we use NSX, which is deeply integrated into this IBM cloud. What you're seeing here is the firewall, the kind of one of the main management portals or screens that you see in NSX. Each of the rules here are how different pieces of that application are allowed to connect to each other, controlled by NSX. And just for example, we're going to disable one of these. We're going to turn off the rule which is related to the Watson services. We now jump back to our application. We run the application, and as expected, it fails. And it fails because we are leveraging the fine-grained control of NSX to be able to manage how these new pieces of infrastructure communicate together or are able to access each other, leveraging that NSX deep integration with IBM Cloud. Let's take another look at NSX again to see what more we can do there. I mentioned we rebuilt some of this application using containers. And we can zoom right in and see how NSX interacts with these containers. Here you see these 45 container ports. This is NSX directly managing the networking and the security paradigm associated with each of the containers. You can dive in. You can see each of the information about those containers. Now, what's interesting here is Containers are ephemeral. They come and go. You can add more of them depending on the load and how the application is accessing the back-end infrastructure, your Watson services and so on. And that can be a bit of a challenge. How do I tie all these into NSX? Here it's relatively simple. The developer essentially tags the containers with a very simple tag, in this case called ACMA Web, and then NSX automatically associates the appropriate networking security with those containers as they come and go. Now, that's an example of taking an existing application and moving it into a public cloud, modernizing it. What we also want to take a look at is what happens if you've got a hybrid cloud environment. I've got on-prem infrastructure, I have public cloud infrastructure, and I want to be able to leverage the strength of that combination. And for that, we're going to look at VMware Cloud on AWS, accelerating your journey as to how you really leverage a hybrid cloud. Once again, we're going to do this by looking at a demo. Could we kick off the demo, please? So, as you've heard, more and more we're seeing most companies being in this situation where they've got on-prem infrastructure and public cloud infrastructure. And this is an example of where we want to leverage the capabilities of the cloud, but in close relationship to our on-prem infrastructure. And we're going to do this to handle disaster recovery for the on-prem infrastructure. If there's a failure, we want the cloud infrastructure to be able to take over and run those workloads. What you're seeing here is a familiar screen to you, which is the vSphere client. We're looking at 2 data centers, one in New York, one in Tokyo. We're already showing that the New York data center has failed. However, let's not panic. It is protected by VMware Site Recovery. If we look at VMware Site Recovery, it says if New York fails, fail it over into cluster 1 over on VMC on AWS. 505 VMs have been moved over to cluster 1 on VMC on AWS. Let's take a look at AWS and see what's happening over there. What you see here are these 2 clusters, and the one we're focused on is cluster 1. Essentially, this is now where the New York data center is running. It has moved those VMs over there onto that data center. Remember, because this is a true hybrid cloud, the actual VMs do not need to be converted or anything like that. They're the same VMs, just moved over now on your VMware infrastructure on Amazon. You can see we've got about 8 hosts there. You probably didn't notice it, but back on the New York data center, it was approximately about 10 hosts. So roughly the same amount of infrastructure being used. What I want to do now, however, is go back and take a look at that infrastructure on the Tokyo data center. Very similar to what we have in New York. A number of hosts, about 500 virtual machines, roughly the same size as the workloads we had running in New York. And once again, this is protected by site recovery. This time, it will fail over to cluster 2 if a failure should occur. Now, in this case, we're protecting this and failing over to that same AWS region. You probably wouldn't do that if it's New York and Tokyo, but for the purpose of example, it's going to come into this cluster 2. Now let's take a look at this cluster 2. 2 things I want you to notice here. First of all, it's a relatively small cluster. It's got 3 hosts, but it's got a lot of storage. And that's because it takes advantage of a new feature, which is the ability to back vSAN by EBS storage over on AWS. And we call this elastic vSAN, an easy way for you to build up lots of storage but still maintain the concepts, the management concepts associated with vSAN in that mix. The other thing is it's only got 3 hosts. Now, if you recall, that data center in Tokyo had 10 hosts. If that data center should fail, there is not enough compute capacity here to be able to support the infrastructure, the applications coming over from the Tokyo data center. And this is where a cool new feature kicks in. And this feature is Elastic DRS. What Elastic DRS will do is it will automatically instantiate and bring new hosts into the cluster as the workload demands it. So as that Tokyo data center fails over in response to a problem at that data center, Elastic DRS will continue to dynamically grow this cluster to meet the demands of the workloads coming in from Tokyo. Now, there's a real cost saving associated with that because you only pay for those hosts if and when you need them after the failover has occurred. So here we've looked at this example of this deep interconnection between on-prem infrastructure and public cloud infrastructure. Now, what happens if you're working in a multi-cloud environment? And Pat has spoken about this a little bit, and we're going to talk about this in the context of cloud health. Once again, we're going to use a demo to give an idea of how these things work. Can we roll the demo, please? So what you're seeing here is the VMware Cloud Services portal. Now, a few months ago, we announced the acquisition of Cloud Health. And this is a key product which focuses on our ability to be able to bring you a unified management across multiple clouds. This whole concept of being able to get a single view across all of your cloud infrastructure. So let's dive in and see what Cloud Health gives us in this example. Here, from a single portal, what you are able to see is the spend that you are doing on Azure, AWS, VMware Cloud on AWS, and on Google. We're focused on the economics in this particular case. So I'm now able to get this macro view of all my spend, but I'm particularly interested in what we're spending on Azure. So we simply click into that. What we then see is here are all of the various lines of business or groups running applications or running workloads over on Azure. And we're interested in that expanding red bar. The integrations group seem to be spending more and more all of the time. How are we going to be able to figure out what's going on there? We simply click on that again. And now you get to see the workloads associated with the integrations group, what they are spending, what they are running over on Azure. Here you see a large number of virtual machines, each costing us about 50 euros a day. That begs a question. Is there an opportunity to save something? Once again, we can leverage a cool feature of Cloud Health, the ability to get some recommendations about what we could do to improve what's going on. This is a step back. It now looks again across all of that infrastructure and is telling us that the integrations group is currently spending 215,000 euro a month on this. But it also says there's an opportunity to save 184,000. We, of course, would be interested in doing that. So we click in there and take a little bit more details on what's going on here. We see each of the VMs owned by that integrations group. And we see that each of these VMs are fairly large. And this is the recommendation that's coming in from Cloud Health. Downgrade the size of these VMs, and you will get significant savings as a result of that. The question is, can you safely do that? And this is where the integration with Wavefront really kicks in. Because with Wavefront, I'm able to now look at those VMs and say, hey, what's the CPU usage? What's the memory usage of these? In this case, it is relatively small, so I'm going to accept the recommendation. I go back into Cloud Health. I say, accept that recommendation. As a result of that, it tees up over on Azure a resizing of all of these VMs, eventually resulting in that saving of 184,000 euro. Now, in this example, I focused on economics, the cost, the spend of what we're doing on Azure, AWS, and so on. But with Cloud Health, it's not just about that economics. You can also look at security. You can also get a broad view of what's happening from a compliance point of view and from governance. Once again, let's invite Pat up here to summarize where we are.
Hey, thank you, Ray. And so we've seen, the leveraging IBM Cloud.
Yes.
Right. We've seen VMware Cloud on AWS and being able to show a true hybrid cloud operation, and Cloud Health saving our customers money and managing their environments
across all of their clouds.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you. Thanks, Pat.
So I want to click now onto the next cloud. And the idea of the telco cloud, and the data center and public cloud environments are 90+% virtualized today. The telco environment, less than 10% virtualized. And we believe this is the largest virgin market opportunity that we collectively have. And we believe 5G will be the force that changes that at scale. And 5G we see as this idea of 1,000x connectivity, 1,000x bandwidth, enabling a whole set of new use cases with 5G and NFV, network function virtualization, the idea of virtualizing the network. We expect that service providers can now participate in a host of new applications, business models, and innovations as never before. And we see them being able to deliver these in a powerful new way of bringing those services to market. And maybe as we think about the 4 superpowers, no place maybe that they'll come together more significantly than in 5G as a technology to bring those together, bringing together the opportunities of wireless and wireline to be commingled, public and private cloud to be fully leveraged, and telco and edge to be fully enabled. And we see this idea of the 5th generation of wireless technology as a dramatic, maybe the largest capital build-out of the rest of our careers. But in this cloud environment, it needs to be built in a true cloud way and to leverage the capabilities that are possible today with the cloud technologies that we together have mastered. And this is what we call the VMware Cloud NFV. The VMware Cloud NFV converts an otherwise rigid communications infrastructure into an agile and multi-purpose one. On top of that, we see that SD-WAN enables new WAN-based services from that cloud. We expect that modern applications will drive storage and compute resources closer to where the data is delivered, as well as the telemetry is executed upon. We need to push the edge for IoT applications. New capabilities like network slicing that allows the sharing of the physical network to simultaneously run a broad range of applications like IoT, mobile bandwidth, low latency applications, connected cars. 5G has radical promises, but it also is a radically different architecture to deliver it. And we fundamentally believe that a virtualized architecture is essential. And as I've said recently, at the Mobile World Congress, there's going to be 2 types of 5G deployments, those that are virtualized and those that fail. And for this, we see this as an enormous opportunity for us as an industry. And we've seen incredible early success from 0 to 60 in the last 2 years. We now have over 60 operators leveraging the VMware NFV architecture, 120 product implementations, 350 million subscribers around the world. And we're just getting started. And while it's been a tremendous year, there's so much more to do in this area. So we've seen the telco cloud. Let's now look at the any app piece of our strategy. And for any application, we see this unique environment of traditional, cloud native, and SaaS application environments. It's spectacular to see how quickly Kubernetes has emerged as a consensus in the industry. And Kubernetes, or the Kubernetes management framework, container management, has quickly seen the enterprise as the expected way that containers will be deployed and managed. And for that, we're thrilled that we've seen this excitement, this efficiency of lightweight deployment, portable patch and deployment mechanism through containers and Kubernetes, and rapidly being able to accelerate applications into production environments. However, all of the infrastructure issues still persist. Operations, automation, security, networking. And ultimately, we see that the best way to run containers is in a virtual machine. We heard that from Arvind on stage earlier today. We see that the largest production container environments today are all run in virtual machines. It's not virtual machines or containers, it's virtual machines and containers. In fact, Google, the creator and arguably the largest provider and world leader in containers, runs them all in virtual machines. All other public cloud environments run them in virtual machines. Simply, we have solved the infrastructure problems through the virtual machine layer, and containers are giving a powerful new way to do application deployment, lifecycle, patch, and management. The VMware strategy is to be the dial tone for Kubernetes in the enterprise. Now, how many of you know what a dial tone is? If you don't, just let me know. I'll explain it to you later, right? But the standard, reliable infrastructure component, that's what we want to be for Kubernetes. And for those of you millennials who don't understand that, just trust me, it's really important. We're going to be that standard way that Kubernetes gets deployed, enterprise-grade standard for Kubernetes. And it's my thrill today to announce the acquisition of Heptio by VMware, a new member of the VMware family. And here with us today, we have Joe Beta. And Joe, if you could just wave to our audience here. Joe and his partner, Craig McLucky, were the... Joe and Craig were two of the three creators of Kubernetes. They're on a passionate journey to standardize and make Kubernetes that dial tone for enterprise, change the way that infrastructure is built and operated. His partner Craig is in Seattle with the core of the Heptio team, and last night there was hooting and hollering going on in Seattle as we announced the acquisition last night. I hope they all kept it a secret. Okay, good. We're good, Joe. And we're just thrilled to have Heptio. Unmatched leadership, community leadership, open source contributions, and street creds about enterprise deployment of Kubernetes. And we're thrilled to have the Heptio team, Joe and Craig, joining the VMware family because we're committed to rapidly accelerate the global adoption of Kubernetes in the enterprise. Joe, great to have you and the team as part of VMware. And about a year ago, we announced VMware PKS, a partnership with Pivotal to build on Kubernetes, but also deliver it as a complete enterprise solution. Native K8s, APIs to developers, built-in image registry using a Harbor, lifecycle management with Bosch, leveraging NSX for networking and security. And at the center of that, from the VMware environment is delivering and building on NSX. NSX solves huge issues for production container environments and deployment. Simply put, it just works, right? And just because you moved an application into a container doesn't mean that you stopped worrying about networking. In fact, many of the networking problems got to be worse. The security issues, the deployment issues. And NSX is fully supported as part of PKS and PCF. It's also the preferred option for third-party solutions, fully supported with IBM and the IBM Kubernetes service offering, also supported in Docker and OpenShift and open source environments. Simply put, NSX is the only solution on the planet that can address the complexity, the enterprise capabilities, and the scale of container deployments today. And we're building on VMware Cloud, we're building on PKS, and also now offering it as a cloud-delivered service. And I'm happy to announce today VMware Cloud PKS. And again, you can take PKS and run it, or you can get PKS as a cloud-delivered service where we're running that environment for you. VMware Cloud PKS provides our customers a simple-to-consume, on-demand Kubernetes service running today on Amazon regions globally, and we're going to be offering that same service on Azure, on Google, on VMware clouds, as well as VMware on-premise environments. VMware Cloud PKS is in public beta on Amazon starting today and will be available on other clouds in the near future. We're excited to between PKS and VMware Cloud PKS, delivering the most comprehensive set of solutions for Kubernetes in the enterprise environment today and into the future. And combining that with the Heptio technologies, the expertise, the products, the open source tools, the clear leader in bringing Kubernetes as the enterprise standard for the future of application and container deployment. We're excited for this set of capabilities, the partnership with Pivotal, the acquisition of Heptio, new services coming together, the clear leader in bringing Kubernetes into the enterprise. But once again, we don't just want to talk about it, let's show it. And to do that, it's my pleasure to have Ray O and Wendy Carty, the head of Kubernetes marketing at VMware. Ray, Wendy.
Thanks, Matt. Hi, hello again, everybody. That was a lot of stuff about containers. It's great to see Joe here. I think we've got some exciting future together that we're going to be looking at some really cool stuff. But what you're going to tell us right now is how people today can make use of VMware PKS. So I'm just going to hand it to you, and please jump in again, once again, for a demo.
Absolutely. So our demo today is VMware PKS running Kubernetes on vSphere. Now, PKS is not just a Kubernetes distribution. It includes container registry, security, networking, and full lifecycle management, all automated by PKS. So what we're going to do today is to go through a demo of PKS automatically bringing up NSX network objects when Kubernetes namespaces are brought up. So what you see on the screen is the vSphere client, which has been extended to manage PKS-deployed Kubernetes clusters. We're going to go in there and see that it's running instance 1, and there are 5 active clusters running. We're going to select the application production cluster and see that it is running NSX with a logical router, switch, and a load balancer. Now, a cluster typically has multiple namespaces, and a namespace is essentially a way to virtualize the cluster for tenancy. So we're going to check how many namespaces are running in the production cluster, and it looks like there are 4 namespaces running. Now, what we're going to do next is create a new namespace and show that NSX will automatically provision the network objects for that new namespace. So to do that, we are going to upload a YAML file, or your developer may use the kubectl command to do this. And we're going to click on namespace again and see that we have a new namespace called PKS Rocks. Now, we have a fan there. So we're going to do a quick check with the NSX manager and see that if the network objects have been brought up. So we're going to click refresh, and we see that PKS Rocks now has all the logical router switch that's configured by NSX, and PKS Rocks is ready to roll.
So for all of the infrastructure folks out there, and we sort of saw this in some of the IBM Cloud demo as well, this means your developers get to bring up all of the pods and the namespaces they want to focus on as they're building the applications, but PKS will automatically take care of the networking for them.
Absolutely.
Okay. You know, as Pat mentioned, however, we're now also talking about VMware Cloud PKS, and of course with the intent to acquire Heptio, there's a lot of new activities taking place in this space. Where can people learn about all the new stuff? VMware Cloud PKS, potentially even what we might be doing with Heptio.
So we will have PKS demos in the booth, but I also want to say that VMware PKS and VMware Cloud PKS are solutions that offer multi-cloud Kubernetes that can be consumed either as an enterprise software or as a cloud service. And with the acquisition of Heptio, we will drive further simplification and innovation in our Kubernetes portfolio, so we're really excited about that. And we hope to see you come by the VMware booth to see additional demos.
So Pat should have the pattern by now, and Pat's going to come out and summarize.
Ray, Wendy, thank you so much.
Thanks, Pat. Thanks.
Thank you.
So we've seen VMware PKS in action, and we're just excited about the momentum and the enthusiasm. And again, welcome to the Heptio team as part of the VMware family. So we've seen intrinsic security. We've seen any cloud. We've seen any application. So let's look at the any device piece of this picture a little bit more closely. And you know what we're seeing in the any device space is that maybe more than anywhere, the 4 superpowers are coming together in the device world. You know, the cloud, harnessing the power and being able to deliver the, devices as a service. And mobile, connecting all of these devices, now billions of them globally. AI and machine learning to be able to manage, automate. And boy, the explosion of new devices at the edge. And for that, we've seen, all of these things are centered around a simple idea. How can we have more engaged employees? This is how I run VMware every day on Workspace ONE. This is consistently seen in data and surveys that are done, that engaged employees and companies with engaged employees have 3x higher likelihood of being leaders in digital transformation. They spend less time on manual processes, increased team interaction, and employee productivity. Fundamentally, changing the digital world, it's critical to have engaged employees, and a modern device experience is essential to that transition. And as we think about this problem, though, once again, it's about how do we bridge across these silos? How do we make them work together? And not just are they the device silos, but it's also all of the management and security infrastructure that goes alongside every one of these device experiences. They have their own individual environment. And if you think about it, remember those commercials, I'm a PC, I'm a Mac? Well, now it's I'm an iOS, and I'm an Android, and the VDI, and of course, good is now bad, the Citrix Manager, and do you still have a BlackBerry, and SCCM failed? Oh my, just stop. The chaos is now over. We're getting IT out of the business of managing devices. We're enabling them to be automated from the cloud, to be enterprise secured, to be cloud-based. And we're focusing our energy on creating employee engagement, productivity, where they can have any application on their devices. And it's consumer simple. And new capabilities that eliminate management complexity of the past, like SCCM. And we're seeing this deep integration with HP, Google Chromebooks. We announced a partnership where Dell is integrating directly into their devices. And once again, just saying, how can we bridge across those worlds? And today, announcing continued innovation in this space. It's my pleasure to bring Ray and Renu Upadhyay to the stage to once again demonstrate Workspace ONE in action for you today. Ray, Renee.
So I think Pat really likes that slide with all the noise and stuff going on there. The interesting thing is the chaos is actually real. This is a real difficult challenge for IT organizations. How do they manage that level of complexity? And this is where Workspace ONE kicks in. How do I manage all those new devices that are in there? Renu, you're the expert in this. Could you please let everybody see how Workspace ONE in particular helps attack this problem?
Happy to, Ray. Let's take a quick look at the demo. Here you see that with the intelligence-driven Workspace ONE platform, IT has comprehensive insights into all of their devices and operating systems in their environment right at their fingertips. Today, we'll take a deeper look into Windows devices. Because with Windows 10, Microsoft has finally joined the modern management party. Now, the good news about modern management is that the operating system can be updated frequently. But the bad news is that now IT admins have to test each and every application with that latest version to ensure compatibility. By the time they're done, a new version's available, and the whole cycle repeats itself. Workspace ONE solves that. With intelligence built into the platform, Workspace ONE automates that process for IT. Let's take a look. Here we see that we've received an app compatibility alert. We also see that the number of devices on that latest version of operating system are fairly small. Digging deeper, what we'll find is that there are 3 applications that are impacting 85% of those upgrades. The Mondecorp application here is the big culprit, impacting the most number of devices.
So a question here would be, Workspace ONE is telling us that Mondecorp is the application that's preventing the upgrades. But it's giving us that information without an IT person going out and starting to test Mondecorp against those new upgrades. How is that being determined?
Right, and that's the beauty of intelligence. What we're doing is that we're combining Windows analytics data together with the application performance and crash testing data inside of Workspace ONE Intelligence to pinpoint the applications that are causing the problem. Now that we know where the problem is, let's go ahead and fix it. To do that, we'll create an automation. The automation will simply open up a Jira ticket right from inside the console. We can also send an email notification to the developer so that they can prioritize the fix. Let's go ahead and save that. What we see is the automation we just created. We also see a second one to automatically roll out the updates once the fix is in place. Now, let's assume that's happened, and let's go back and take a look to see how the OS updates are doing. The graph is trending in the right direction. The number of upgrades has gone up. And scrolling further, we'll find out that the devices that were blocked has drastically gone down. Now, this is just a quick snapshot into the beauty and the power of Workspace ONE with intelligence. To see and learn more, I'd like to invite every one of you to our showcase keynote, the EUC Showcase keynote, at 5 p.m. later this evening.
Fantastic, Renu. Let's kind of summarize, though, what we're seeing here. That's just to throw everybody off. Pat's not going to do this one, right? First of all, what we're seeing here is that cross-modern management is now foundational to the digital workspace. You have to accept you're going to have this wide range of devices in your environment. Machine learning-driven insights and automation can deliver this zero-trust security model and do so at zero costs. And in the end, it's all about IT empowerment. How do you enable the IT organization to focus on what it keeps to make the employees happy, the employee experience, not focusing on managing all of this infrastructure upgrade in the background?
Exactly.
Thank you, Renu.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So before I call Pat back up, there's a few more things I just want to go through. And we're going to dive right into some of these. But broadly speaking, one of the key things that we are seeing is that applications more and more are beginning to push some of the limits on today's hardware. Applications like AI, ML, TensorFlow, in-memory databases. How do I use Spark at massive scale? And what we're seeing here is that in each of these cases, we see the hardware companies responding and coming out with some interesting new technologies. One of the things that's particularly of interest to us is large capacity, byte addressable, persistent memory, becoming mainstream in servers you can readily buy. Now, one of the challenges you have that these new workloads can easily end up building silos. I end up dedicating some hardware over here to be able to run my AI and analytics workloads. I use something else to run my more traditional workloads or my containerized workloads. As you heard from Pat, we don't like silos. We like busting those silos and trying to give you a unified management approach across them. So with SDDC and virtualization, we want to take the best advantage we can of these new type of hardware, which is one of the reasons why we're very happy to be working with Intel and partnering with Intel about the new server refreshes that they are bringing out next year. Obviously, new processor technology is giving you great boosts in performance, but in particular, the Optane DC persistent memory. We believe this is really a game changer, an interesting sweet spot between storage and dynamic RAM. And we want to make sure that you can leverage that with virtualization. So when these servers become available, we, of course, intend to be able to supporting them right at the time of launch. One of the other things we've began to do is look with some of our partners how you can take advantage of some of these technologies. In this particular case, you can get massive memory footprint in a relatively small server, a 2-CPU server. SAS, for instance, have done some work where we've worked with them, and they can see how they can get a 3x performance boost doing that. So new hardware coming out, VMware will be there ready to support that infrastructure as it becomes available. One of the other things that we're seeing in terms of new applications appearing is blockchain. And a few months ago at VMworld in Las Vegas in the US, we announced Project Concord. This is an open source project from VMware for blockchain, very simple to access Apache 2 license. And today we're happy to announce the availability of a beta of that VMware blockchain service. Now, what are we focused on here? First of all, we're looking at enterprise-grade decentralized trust. You can get true scalability while maintaining that strong security. Second of all, we're focused on day 2 operations. Robust operations. So focused on audit and UI, a UI which is centered around knowing where your data is and the state of your blockchain network. And thirdly, we're focused on making sure developers can do this. So we've made sure that this is compatible with the Ethereum virtual machines, and because of that, you get a broad number of developers, a broad developer community who can build applications on this. Now, blockchain really requires a great ecosystem. And so we've been partnering with a number of companies to help build solutions in this. Deloitte, Verizon, what we've been doing with Wipro, Worldwide Technologies, and Dell Technologies. You also need an opportunity to be able to run these services in a variety of places. Once again, this service can run on VMware infrastructure on-prem, but it can also run on VMware on IBM Cloud and VMware Cloud on AWS. The key thing that we are focused on here is making sure, as the blockchain pioneers are beginning to say, I really need to put something in production here, moving from concept to enterprise-class blockchain, that is where we're focused, and that is where this beta is beginning to make those technologies available. So, Pat, do you want to wrap up here?
So Ray, tremendous summary. We've seen end-user computing at work, right? We've seen new hardware innovations and blockchain. Boy, that was an unexpected one as well. So we're done with you now, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks, what a great demo partner, Ray.
Thanks, Pat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pat. Oh, actually, wait.
Hey, Ray, you promised me you were done.
Yeah, I forgot one thing. We're working to a timeline here. I was a bit under pressure, right? I got this for you.
So it looks like a Raspberry Pi. So what do I care about this?
And that's what it is. It's not about the Raspberry Pi hardware. What's important here is the software which is running in it.
Okay.
This is a Raspberry Pi IoT-based endpoint which is running ESXi.
So now wait a minute.
Yep.
So, a Raspberry Pi, it's like 30 euros, right? Like nothing. It has like 1 gig of memory, so it's like nothing. And you're telling me ESXi is running on this little thing?
Believe it. This is running a prototype version of ESXi, and if people want to learn more about this and see how this is put together and how this works, there's a session later today with Chris Wolf and Daniel Beveridge, and I'll take you through how to do this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Right, you guys always have stuff in the labs.
Sure.
I'm so excited.
Thank you,
Ray.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Well, them lab guys, impossible to manage them. Who knows what they're up to? We've seen the whole VMware vision. We've seen any device, any cloud, any application with intrinsic security. And we've heard from customers and we've seen demonstrations. But I want to take one last look at a customer. And this one, the International Committee of the Red Cross, humanitarian organization, taking advantage of these technologies to deliver care and assistance to victims of armed conflict and dissemination of implementation of law across the globe. Let's hear from them now.
People don't expect war or violence to happen to them. We all assume that it happens to somebody else. More than 66 million people are believed to be on the move at the moment. That is increasing the chances of people becoming separated. The International Committee of the Red Cross is a humanitarian organization working for the protection and assistance of victims of armed conflict. A challenge which has been critical for the ICSC throughout its history is about how to connect families that are separated.
Communication is key, and the key challenge in the field for us is the network. We saw that we had an increase of servers and that we needed more agility. When everything is virtualized, actually, it's quite easy to manage.
It's critical that we're able to protect the data that we have and that we can manage that data with integrity and due diligence. VMware is critical for the ICSC in its ability to really leverage that infrastructure, that cloud, in order to be able to send our data around the world in real time.
Every day you have something new. You just see the potential that we could use this new topology to bring new services, to improve the services. That's really exciting.
What I love about my job is this connection to a humanitarian imperative and the ability to use technology to connect families who are separated. And when you bring them that first contact and they hear the voice or they see an image of the person for the first time, that is why you come into the office.
What an extraordinary story of tech as a force for good. And it's our pleasure today to have Charlie Lindsay Curtet, one of the leaders of the International Committee of the Red Cross, here with us today. Thank you so much. And as each one of you are leaving today, we want to give you the opportunity to support these charities and pick up a token on the way out and of the general session, and then you can deposit it into the charity of your choice. And VMware will be making contributions in your honor to those charities today. Check out the posters, QR codes. We want you to learn and be engaged. And thank you to Mercy Ships and the International Committee of the Red Cross today. And we do encourage you to be back tomorrow. Sanjay Poonen will have some customers here on stage. We're also thrilled to have Martha Lane Fox speaking in the general session tomorrow on responsible technology and the development of that around the world. As we began our discussion today, I express my enthusiasm for this community. Together, we place a unique and powerful role in this fast-changing world of technology today. Simply put, you our customers, our partners, and Team VMware. And we talked about these superpowers and the impact that they're having today. And 20 years ago, we created this first idea of the virtual infrastructure. And today, it is how everything operates. And as we see these superpowers into the future, we see that our opportunity is to shape these technologies, to change your business, but also to change society, that we get to shape technology and drive it as a force for global good and impact. I believe we can successfully extend the lifespan of every human on the planet. I believe that together we can eradicate chronic diseases that have plagued mankind for centuries, that we can lift the remaining 10% of those living in extreme poverty, that we can reskill every worker for the age of the 4 superpowers, that we can give modern health care and education to every child on the planet, and that we can reverse the impact of global climate change. Together, I believe, please join me in that journey. Possible begins with you. Thank you very much.